Hello, I'm Dr. Mahua Bhattacharjee. I am doing, we are doing imperfect factor market. So from imperfect factor market, we have done collective bargaining in which we have determined the rent, determined the wages limit. Now we are going to the new topic which is called rent. Generally when we talk about the rent, the rent terminology immediately gives us that it is something which is related to land. That is the land, whatever the income from a land which comes across, or we get to know that if a person is a tenant, he gives rent. So something which is all related to the land or asset or something like that, which is if you are rented in house, these are the ways by which you get the term rent in your mind. But in economics, you know, the term rent has got a very clear and clarified and evolved concept. Okay, it is originally in a traditional way, it was only related to land, and it was considered that whatever is earned from land was called as a rent. And but in the modern, but with the time it was understood that rent is not that limited area it has got. So modern economists extended the terminology of rent to an economic rent, and they have considered that rent is something which is not to be only correlated with land, but it can be correlated with any earnings of the factors of production. So this is something which by which the process of the terminology rent has gone through. So after that, it was Marshall who said that it is not the only economic rent. There is one more special kind of rent which can arise in short run for a capital equipment, and which he named as a quasi-rent. So this way we can see that the terminology rent or the concept rent has passed through a phases in which originally it was only an income earned from land or income generated from land. That was something. Then gradually it has transferred to a new meaning in which it was modern economists considered, you know, all the factors of production can earn rent, and there is a specific way by which we can measure that. That was called economic rent. And then after that, and in addition to it, we get a classical economist concept, Marshall's concept, in which he says no, we can also relate rent with the earning of the capital equipment, and with some basic assumption. So today we will be doing those things, how this concept of rent has evolved. So in general, if we think the rent, the terminology rent, which was defined as an earning of land, which was transferred by modern economists as an economic rent, it is something by bringing a concept called transfer earning. All the factors of the modern economist says that all the factors of production can earn economic rent. How? So it is by subtracting the present earning from the present earning, the transfer earning. Now the question is, what is your transfer earning? The transfer earning is nothing but the next best alternative earning. Suppose, for example, presently you are earning 10,000 rupees, and if you have got an opportunity, if with your CV strength or with your all skills and things, you might earn 9,000 rupees. Most it is assumed that wherever you are earning, it will be the highest one, and your transfer earning will be less than that, because if it would have been more than that, you would have been there. This is an assumption of an economist. So that's why it is said that the transfer earning is, suppose it is the next best alternative earning. Presently, whatever you are earning, if we subtract the next best alternative earning from the present earning, whatever is left back, it is called economic rent. For example, as I was telling, you are earning 10,000 rupees and your next best alternative earning is 9,000. So 10,000 minus 9,000, 1,000 rupees is your economic rent. So rent is nothing but the surplus earning over the next best alternative earning. So by this concept, or by this definition, we came to we could apply the concept of rent in a much more broader and in varied way. So this is something, that's why it is called to be the, it is called that the surplus over the transfer earning is equal to economic rent. So this is something which came up in the by the modern economists. Now the question is this: how do we measure it? So the present earning minus your transfer earning gives you economic rent. This is something which we have understood. Now, if the resource is, if your resource is perfectly elastic, and this is your demand curve, and so this is your intersection curve. So it is called that the, and your, because you know it is said by modern economy, by the classist, that the land has got no transfer use, because the land will be, especially by Ricardo. Ricardo is the name of the economist who has really worked very hard on finding out the earning of land. And he has given many theories, law of diminishing marginal utility, and many other theories in which he has contributed. So Ricardian theory of rent, in which he has given in detail how to work out the concept of economic rent on land also. But the question is this: he has said that the land is something which is perfectly, the land has got no other alternative use. Either it will be used for producing corn, or it will be left unused. In this way, that is, and generally no one will prefer to keep it unused. So mostly they will use it for producing corn. This is an assumption which Ricardo always kept in his theory, that land is something which is used for production of corn. So that's why for Ricardo there is no other alternative use of the land, and so that's why whatever is earned from land is the transfer earning, and that's why that is entirely an economic rent. So, and that's why, because and this is something specially with the assumption which he has kept, and it is and with the assumption that the land has got no other alternative use and nobody will be preferring to keep it land ideal. So that's why in this way it has been considered that whatever is earned is surplus, and this is only the economic rent for Ricardo. Now this is something which he has given with his own theory, but the transfer earning concept can be also discussed with not with a perfectly elastic curve, but also with a variation of the curves. So that's why with the changes in the demand and the supply also we can determine the changes in the economic rent, and we can explain it separately with a separate diagram. Thank you.